Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. There's a moment, quiet, invisible, when a woman who tried to forget you suddenly realizes she can't. And when that moment hits, everything in her world shifts. But what she doesn't know is that everything in your world shifts too. Men don't talk about this, but you feel it. That strange pressure in your chest when you sense she's thinking about you again. Even before she calls, even before she watches your story, even before she slips back into your life with a casual, "Hey, how have you been?" And the reason you feel it is simple. When a woman can't stop thinking about you, it triggers a psychological chain reaction in both of you. Something deeper than memory, deeper than emotion, deeper than logic. Most men assume a woman thinking about them is just nostalgia. No, it's never just that. Women don't get stuck on men without reason. If she can't stop thinking about you, it means you've penetrated a part of her mind that she doesn't easily let people into, because women guard that place with a different kind of lock, not the lock of romance, the lock of trust. And if you ever pass through that lock, even once, you left fingerprints behind. Here's the truth no one tells men. A woman's attraction is rarely the thing that brings her back in her mind. It's the emotional imprint. And if she can't stop thinking about you, it's because that imprint is still glowing inside her, like embers that refuse to die no matter how much she tries to bury them. But here's where things twist. Women don't replay you the same way men replay women. Men think in moments. Women think in meanings. A man will remember the time she smiled at him in the car. A woman remembers what that smile meant to her at the time. A man remembers the day she held his arm a little tighter. A woman remembers what she believed about him while she held it. So when she can't stop thinking about you, she's not replaying events. She's questioning everything around them. And that's where the shift in your life begins. Because when a woman spirals into that mental loop without even realizing it, she pulls your presence back into her emotional field. And you feel that because human connection isn't just physical, it's psychological and energetic. Ever noticed how someone you haven't talked to in months suddenly reaches out the same day you thought about them? That's not coincidence. That's emotional frequency. When she can't stop thinking about you, three things begin to happen to you, slowly, quietly, but unmistakably. You feel an unusual calm or unease at random moments. You start reflecting on things you never intended to revisit. Or you suddenly feel drawn to improve something about yourself without understanding why. These aren't random shifts. These are reactions to a psychological pull most men never recognize. And the truth is, if you've ever formed a deep emotional imprint on a woman, she may be thinking about you far more often than you believe, even if she's moved on, even if she's with someone else, even if she told herself you were a closed chapter. But the real question isn't why she's thinking about you. The real question is, what is it doing to you right now? Because the moment she can't stop thinking about you, your story with her isn't as finished as you thought. There's something men rarely understand until it hits them in the quiet hours of the night. When a woman can't stop thinking about you, the first thing that happens to you is that your instincts start waking up, and you don't even realize it's connected to her. You suddenly become more alert, more reflective, more aware of what you're doing with your time. It's like a part of your mind that was asleep suddenly sits up. Not because you're thinking about her, but because something inside you is responding to the energy she's unconsciously sending your way. Most men don't trust that feeling. They brush it off. They say, "It's nothing, I'm just tired, I'm just stressed." No, it's not nothing. There's a reason men throughout history, and even now, talk about moments of intuition without knowing why. Because when someone emotionally tied to you is focused on you, your subconscious reacts long before your rational mind catches up. It might show up as a sudden feeling of nostalgia, or a strange rush of confidence, or even a sense of emptiness like something is missing. You might wake up with her face in your mind without any trigger, or feel compelled to check your phone. And you think you're the one initiating those thoughts. You're not. You're responding to a strong emotional ripple that started in her, not in you. Why does this happen? Because emotional bonds, even the ones you think are broken, don't disappear instantly. They stretch, they thin, they fade, but they don't snap. Not unless something traumatic or final happens. And if you ever meant something to her, really meant something, your presence still sits in the back of her emotional brain. And when she starts obsessing about you again, that memory lights up. And whether you want it or not, your mind reacts to that signal. But this is where things get interesting. When a woman's thoughts return to you, you start feeling a pull toward becoming the man you were at your best around her. The version of you she admired, the version she respected, the version she trusted. Not because she needs you to be that man, but because you remember how it felt when someone looked at you with belief, softness, or desire. And that memory acts like fuel. Suddenly, you want to improve. You want to dress better, work harder, focus more. Not for her, for yourself. Because the energy she's sending toward you awakens parts of you that were dormant. You start to realize you've been living below your potential, and whether you admit it or not, her resurfacing in her own mind triggers your growth in yours. But here's the twist most men never see coming. You don't feel this because she wants you back. You feel this because she wants meaning, closure, understanding, or connection. Her thoughts create turbulence, and that turbulence reaches you. That's the first thing that happens to you. Your mind wakes up. Your intuition sharpens. Your energy shifts. And you sit there feeling something you can't explain. A whisper you can't identify. A signal you can't ignore. You don't know it yet. But this is the beginning of a transformation inside you. And whether you ever speak to her again or not, something in your life is about to change because of her thoughts alone. The second thing that happens to you when she can't stop thinking about you is that your past with her becomes sharper, clearer, almost painfully vivid. Not because you miss her, and not because you want her back, but because your mind is responding to the emotional pressure she's unconsciously projecting. Memories you never revisit suddenly surface like they've been waiting in the dark for the right moment to reappear. And they don't show up randomly, they show up with purpose. A man can go months, even years, without thinking about a woman, and then suddenly, out of nowhere, a single moment with her comes back like it happened yesterday. The smell of her perfume, the sound of her laugh, the way she looked at you that one night when she was scared of losing you. These details don't return to torture you. They return to test you. Because when she can't stop thinking about you, she's not replaying your highlight reel. She's replaying your turning points. The moments she realized she loved you. The moments she doubted you. The moments she misunderstood you. The moments she lost you. And when her mind latches onto those scenes, your subconscious mirrors the emotional charge, even if you don't consciously feel the same thing she does. That's why your memories feel so suddenly alive. But here's the part that hits men the hardest. These memories force you to face the version of yourself you were with her. And that man might be different from the man you are today. Maybe you were stronger back then, more decisive, more focused, more grounded. Maybe you were weaker, more insecure, more reactive, more unsure of your worth. Maybe you were a mix of both. But the moment her mind returns to you, your mind forces you to confront that version of yourself. Why? Because emotional bonds are mirrors. When hers turns on, yours reflects. And in that reflection, a man sees things he wasn't ready to look at before. Not because he wants her back, but because she represents a chapter he never closed correctly. A chapter with loose ends, unanswered questions, unfinished growth. Her thoughts pull that chapter open again, not to drag you backward, but to force you forward. This is why some men suddenly feel regret or guilt without understanding why. Not because they made mistakes, but because they finally understand the weight of those mistakes. This is also why some men feel relief or clarity, not because they're over her, but because they're finally seeing the truth they couldn't see when emotion blinded them. When she can't stop thinking about you, your mind returns to the emotional classroom you once shared, and those memories become lessons you were meant to learn long before, but never did. But here's the twist most men don't expect. These memories don't come back to pull you toward her. They come back to push you toward a better version of yourself. Because every emotionally charged connection teaches you something. And the moment her thoughts return to you, the universe hands you the final exam of that connection, whether you want it or not. The second thing that happens is that you are forced to revisit your emotional truth, not for her, for your own evolution. The third thing that happens to you when she can't stop thinking about you is more subtle, more powerful, and far more dangerous if you ignore it. Your perception of her and of yourself starts to shift. Not immediately, not in an obvious way, but quietly, like water eroding stone. You notice her presence everywhere, in the way women move, in the way certain people talk, in the flicker of a smile that reminds you of her. And it's not just nostalgia. It's your mind recalibrating, trying to reconcile the emotional resonance she left behind with the life you've been living since. Here's the reality most men never admit. The women who leave the deepest imprints are never just part of your past. They act like psychological anchors. Even when the relationship ended or never fully began, your brain keeps the data, every detail, every nuance, every contradiction. And when she starts thinking about you, your internal anchor tugs back. That tug isn't weakness, it's awareness. It's recognition of unfinished emotional currency. You might notice it in strange ways. A sudden sense of longing for something undefined, flashes of anger where none should exist, or moments of clarity where you realize how much she influenced your decisions, your ambitions, your standards, more than anyone else ever did. And the shocking part is that you feel this without talking to her, without hearing her voice, without seeing her in months. It's like she's sending ripples through the water of your consciousness, and your mind can't help but notice. But the real shift is internal. You start evaluating yourself differently. You question, who am I now compared to who I was with her? Am I living up to the man she believed I could be, or the man I've always wanted to become? And even if you tell yourself you're done with the past, your behavior starts changing. You dress sharper, think smarter, pursue bigger goals. Not for her, not even consciously, but because her thoughts activate the parts of you that respond to admiration, respect, and desire. This is why some men suddenly find themselves improving their social skills, their career focus, or their physical health when a woman they thought they'd left behind keeps appearing in their mental space. It's not coincidence. It's a psychological law. Emotional energy cannot be contained. When she is obsessing over you, even in ways she cannot control, you are receiving it, whether you like it or not. And here's the dangerous side most men overlook. This influence can also trap you if you let it. If you constantly dwell on her thoughts, if you obsess over what she feels or imagines about you, you give your power away. Your growth becomes reactionary instead of intentional. But if you understand this influence, harness it, and channel it consciously, it can propel you farther than any motivational speech, book, or self-help routine ever could. The third thing that happens is that you realize you are never really alone in your own mind. Someone else's emotions, especially hers, can awaken, shape, and refine your psyche in ways subtle enough to be overlooked, but powerful enough to redefine the path of your life. And whether you ever speak to her again or not, you are being molded by a force beyond your control, the lingering pull of her attention. And that's why men who understand female psychology know this. A woman thinking about you isn't just her problem, it's your catalyst, your mirror, your invisible mentor, forcing you to confront your truth, sharpen your focus, and rise above who you were yesterday. The final thing that happens to you when she can't stop thinking about you is the awakening of a quiet power within yourself. By now, you've felt it, your instincts sharpened, your memories replayed with clarity, your perception of yourself subtly transformed. And if you pay attention, you'll realize the truth most men never grasp. Her thoughts don't just affect her, they affect you in ways that are invisible, profound, and permanent. It's not about control, manipulation, or winning her back. It's about understanding the invisible psychology of connection. When a woman cannot stop thinking about you, she is unconsciously sending emotional signals that resonate with your subconscious. And those signals force you to examine yourself, your desires, your weaknesses, your ambitions, and your potential. This is not coincidence. This is the mirror of female psychology revealing what you were never meant to ignore. Some men feel unsettled at this stage. They notice the subtle pull in their energy, the unease when a memory surfaces, or the sudden motivation to change something in their life without knowing why. This is normal. This is the price of impact. The truth is, leaving a mark on someone's mind, even unintentionally, is a responsibility. It doesn't matter if she's thinking about you with love, confusion, or anger. The very act of her focus is a force of nature, and you are not immune. This awakening is both a warning and a gift. The warning is simple. If you let this pull dominate your thoughts, you risk living in reaction rather than action. You risk measuring your worth by someone else's reflection rather than your own growth. And the gift? That same pull can ignite self-mastery, emotional clarity, and personal power that you could never achieve through mere discipline or effort alone. Now, consider this. The strongest men in history were never those untouched by relationships, but those who learned from them. Those who recognized the silent lessons embedded in the attention, the longing, and even the obsession of others. Every thought she has about you is a chance to understand how deeply your presence affects others, and more importantly, how deeply it can reshape yourself. And here is the paradox. The more she thinks of you, the less you need her approval, validation, or attention. Because understanding this dynamic teaches a man something rare and transformative. Your value isn't dictated by the focus of another. It is amplified by the awareness of that focus and the action you take with it. You stop seeking her, you stop chasing, and yet the influence of her mind continues to flow into your life, shaping it, pushing you to evolve, sharpening your instincts and clarifying your priorities. By now, you understand the unseen consequences. 3 powerful forces have taken hold. Your instincts awaken, your memories sharpen, your perception transforms. And if you harness them consciously, you step into a version of yourself far beyond the man she initially left behind, or the man you thought you were. So here's your final challenge. Imagine her thoughts as variables in an equation with your life. The question is, what do you do with that energy? Do you let it control you, or do you let it guide you to growth, strength, and clarity? Now, I want you to do something for me. Take a moment, think about the 3 shifts we just covered, and answer this in the comments. If her thoughts influence your mind like 3 unseen forces, and your actions amplify them like 2 conscious choices, what is the total impact on the man you can become? Think deeply, share your answer below, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video with a friend who needs to hear the truth about female psychology. Because her mind, thinking of you, isn't about her. It's about the man you're destined to become.